Hi, this is the video for Daf Tzadi, page 90 of Masechet Ketubot for Daf Shevui. I am Joshua Kulp. And the Daf that we're learning this week is really surprisingly, one of my favorite dapim in the entire Masechet. It's a subject I find very interesting, and that is the Ketubot Benin Dichrin, the ketubah that goes to the male children. And I think I might take a couple of videos actually to explain this. One I will dedicate to this daf, and one I will dedicate to the following daf, which really is a continuation of the sugya. This way the videos don't get too long. Let me just explain here what the basics of the Ketubot Benin Dichrin are. The basics are a husband could marry two wives. Let's say Reuven marries Rachel and Leah. Okay, we like to use those names. So Reuven marries Rachel and Leah. He loves Rachel very much, or Rachel's father is very rich. Could be a combination. So Rachel gets a very large ketubah. Rachel's father gives her a large dowry, and Reuven in return promises her a large amount to match that dowry. Let's say her ketubah ends up being an enormous amount. Let's call it 10,000 dinar, a huge ketubah. Now, Reuven also has, let's say, the hots for Leah. He's attracted to Leah. Leah is a beautiful woman, a charming woman, but she comes from a family without any money. But Reuven wants to marry her anyway. We'll leave aside the issue of does Rachel agree. And Reuven gives Leah a small ketubah, but he marries her anyway, and Leah has very little dowry. Let's say her ketubah is the minimal amount of 200. So now again, we've got Rachel with 10,000 and Leah with 200. Rachel has two boys and Leah has two boys. Should Reuven die, he will pay out Rachel's ketubah and Leah's ketubah, and the children will inherit their ketubah, no problem. But what happens if Rachel and Leah die before Reuven? All that money that Rachel was promised by Reuven now goes into Reuven's estate, or it never really left there. And when he dies, Reuven's four sons will inherit him equally. So let's say there's 11,000, let's say 12,000 dinars there. Each son will get 3,000 dinars. Now, who's going to get upset about this situation? Rachel's father is going to get upset about this situation, because let's say he gave Rachel, let's say 8,000 dinar, something like that, as her dowry. A lot of that money is going to go to Leah's children. It could be even worse, right? If Rachel only has one boy and Leah has 10 boys or 6 boys, some very large number, an even smaller percentage of Rachel's father's money is going to go to his grandchildren. So the Ketubot Benin Dichrin guarantees Rachel's father that Rachel's sons will inherit the dowry that Rachel's father gave to her. It prevents Rachel's father's money from going to kids to whom he is not biologically related. And obviously, in the end, and we've said this in the 4th chapter, this is incentive for Rachel's father to give more money. If he feels that his money will not be going to his own biological grandchildren, then he may be hesitant to give a dowry. So that's the basic nature of the Ketubot Benin Dichrin sugya and the takana. I should note that similar clauses appear in ancient Near Eastern law well before the time of the rabbis, and in many cultures they wanted to make sure that mothers' dowries passed to their own children and not to co-wives' children. And that was very important to the wives. It was very important to the fathers of the wives, the fathers of the brides. And there is a rich tradition of this in ancient Near Eastern law, even though we do not find it in the Torah. The notion of the Ketubot Benin Dichrin, the male children ketubah, is not purely rabbinic, but I will talk about the rabbinic aspects of it in my next video, so stay tuned.